Hello there, YouTube. Happy Meerschaum Monday. Although it's not technically Monday, as usual. But I wanted to smoke my Meerschaum, so smoking my Bertram with what remains of my sample of best brown flake. Yes, I'm still on it. Very, very slow smoker nowadays because of everything going on currently in my life. I'm pretty much smoking when I'm talking to you people. Just a small side note, I received my very, very first comment in Russian. My channel, more than a year in. Maybe even more than 2 years in, I don't remember, frankly speaking. But apart from several people replying to me in Russian, trying to use auto-translate or using Russian, but not being Russian per se. Here's the first comment I received to one of my previous lately videos, just pipe chat, and it goes translated into English. It goes, "Tell your mom to put away the sugar with a Russian label at the background and the dishes. Seems you are not used to doing it yourself. Otherwise your podcast doesn't look much." I think he was trying to spell Serbian, but failed at that. So that's Russian internet at its finest. Everything is present. The complete irrelevance of the comment to the video itself, the lack of education, not knowing what's the difference between a podcast and a YouTube channel, the spelling mistakes, and the base desire to make oneself feel good by putting others down, even if they don't give a flying fuck about you. That's why you never, ever go into the Russian internet, at least social media. But enough of that. I packed this one very loose, so there's not much tobacco in it, in the bowl. So without further ado, this video is actually a music themed one, because I went to the gig yesterday, and my reaction to the gig puzzled me. There's a band in the US called Dance with the Dead. Some of you may probably know that. They represent the currently I think somewhat trendy retro wave genre, which is electronic music which is influenced by old soundtracks, older music. So electronic music looking back rather than looking forward. They also employ heavy guitars, which I like. Their theme is sort of, old horror films, sci-fi films, etc. It's a duo, two people, two guys, and I follow them on Instagram. They seem like, people who are legitimately passionate about their music. And so when they came to Moscow, I went to their gig. The place was packed, and me and my buddy of mine who went with me, we left in the middle of the set because I was so disappointed with what I saw, and I couldn't understand why I was disappointed. It dawned on me only in the morning, probably. I had a clue when I was while I was returning home, but it formulated after I slept with an idea. You see, back in the day, I saw a documentary about blues music and the origins of blues music, and one of the older guys being interviewed said that nowadays the instruments do the playing, and in our time you had to play every note. And it's usually dismissed as an old guy's complaint, yeah, you are behind the times, etc. But turns out I'm not immune to that. That's interesting. Because there's, returning to the Dance with the Dead, in their music, there are basically two components, the electronic one and the heavy guitars. And I think I might be mistaken, don't quote me on this one. I think both of those guys in the band have a background in sort of heavy metal music. So all the pictures I saw of them playing live, they were just on the opposite ends of the stage. One was banging his head with a guitar and riffing out and doing solos, and another one was behind his laptop, his MIDI keyboard, and he was basically handling all the electronic stuff. Or at least it looked like he was handling the electronic stuff. And during this gig, both of them went to the center of the stage with guitars, and all the electronic portion was basically a backing track right from the album. And it bummed me so much. I understood that there's a certain breaking point at which, for me, a gig ceases to be alive. Because here we're having two guys playing their guitars, which I say 20% of the whole sound, and the other 80% are just samples, backing tracks. And it doesn't look good. It looks lazy, unfortunately. I'm sure they were having a blast, and they're actually Both of those guys, both musicians, liked my rather negative post on Instagram and left some comments without words, just, devil's horns. Now I actually feel bad about writing the post. But I am an old fart completely, or just a line must be drawn somewhere. At a certain point, I cannot perceive a performance as a performance if it's all, a backing track or a sample or something like that. A live gig should be live musicians performing live, playing their instruments, or at least I thought to myself, going back to the older, photos I saw of those guys playing, if one stayed behind the keyboard, I think that would be enough for me. Interestingly enough. I'm pretty uneducated as per how the electronic music is produced. How much of a player is actually present. So even if he doesn't make all the notes in the given song, him being behind the keyboard and doing something electronic music related, that will be enough for me. I would be fooled and I would be happy. Yeah, I wasn't happy that time. Sorry about that. So I'll just stick with their albums, which are great. I don't mind them at all. But their live gigs, sorry, cannot call them live, at least to my, maybe outdated standards. And the whole place was happy, the audience was happy, they all, danced or banged their heads depending on their background. And now remembering this audience, I am now completely completely baffled by people who go to legit electronic music concerts with famous DJs, etc., because there's nothing live there at all. There's just a DJ, his turntable, and tracks. He manipulates them in a certain way, and I understand fully that there's a certain craft, if not art, to organize the set and to make the audience experience sort of a build up into a sort of crescendo of emotions. I understand that, but to me it has nothing to do with music, with playing music. Amazing. Never thought about that. I looked at, this old grumpy people saying, nowadays all the music is fake and but it's not live, it's all computer generated. I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm better than those. No, I'm not. I'm just as stuck with, an outdated probably notion of a live performance as them. Interesting, very interesting. So, at least I learned that I'm no use at any, electronic gig, probably. Unless it's something like, The Prodigy, where they've got a bunch of people doing a bunch of stuff on stage, guitar players, drummers, guys with electronic equipment, sequencers, laptops, keyboards. People interacting with audiences and dancers. I saw the Prodigy gigs, recordings of their gigs, and it looked genuine, like a performance. Because you're basically losing track of who plays what and where does the sound comes from. But this one, sorry, didn't like it. Just thought I'd share it with you people. And I'll probably sign off right now because there's not much else to say. And I'm not comfortable filming another video back to this one because I'm very sleepy. As usual, I'd like your opinions on the subject. What do you think about, electronic music going live? Is it live? Is it not live? To which extent is it live? I'll try to make another video during the week before weekend, but I'm sort of in a limbo right now because I've got there's a prospect of me changing my job, getting a new job right now. I've got an offer there, evaluating had a meeting there comparing me to other candidates at the moment. Leaving the place where I worked for 10 years, it's always a hassle, and I'm scared as shit. So I don't know whether I'll be able to film another video, because if I get a call from those guys tomorrow, everything will basically turn on its head, and I'll have to finish everything in one place, get ready to move on to another one, and it's a hassle, that. Well, at least having someone actually reaching out to me saying, we might want you for a job, that's reassuring. Nice boost of, self-confidence. I was almost sure that I'll be stuck at my current place until a company folds or they fire me, something like that. There's a topic for another, discussion. As of now, thank you for watching. Yet another not very reassuring video, but a nice point for discussion, I think. I'm signing off. I hope you're having a tremendous beginning of the work week. And there's my fridge. Hello there. So I hope you have a nice week, and I'll see you people in another one of my videos. Thanks a bunch. Bye.